brand new. Not dirty anyway. There's the new bushings. Those things were a heart attack getting them off. The bushings, not the arms. Man, I had to have them pressed out. Anyway, finally got the X pipes. We had to move the mufflers outboard of the frame, which is fine. But in order to get the X pipe in, you know, it just wouldn't have worked any other way. So waiting to see if that's going to leak or not, because I've been at getting these lines properly situated where they're not going to vibrate or shake loose. Just drive this thing 2,000 miles from California all the way to Iowa, so nothing can be like that. Not only that, it could be dangerous. Anyway, there's the after filter and the line to the pre-filter, and that gives me the 24 inches overall, and then the last small hose to the tank. And that's where the tank fell to the ground, because in my infinite wisdom I had put short bolts and forgot to put washers, and a little bolt just backed off and dropped the tank on the street. The cool thing is, with the steel lines, it just bounced once and flew back up and stayed up, so I just lucked out. Otherwise, if that tank would have been compromised with the sparks, it probably would have blown up like a Roman candle. At least the tank's in the back and not inside the cab. So thank God for small favors. Anyway, really gotta make sure that before I bet this line, it's not going to leak. See the, you know, I had to do all of this because there were nothing holding the original lines in place. And you gotta remember, we drug this thing out of the dirt, basically. And yeah, see that oil pan's. I'm gonna have to pull a pan. I don't believe it. It's a one-piece pan, a Velcro pan, and I guess I'm gonna have to pull it now, and because this is obviously, it's not gonna stop. Anybody has any tricks on that, let me know. Then oh, somebody asked me about the part on this thing, so here you go. It's CPP Classic 6102-2, and the rears are also CPP, and I don't know if there's a part number on those or not, but I do remember, because this was more of a criticality for me, because any more than 3-inch lowering on the back and you have problems, then you have to notch the rear part of the frame, and I didn't want to go through all that. And thank God she was happy with the with the brake that it ended up with. Then when we added the True Track, it's like a, I believe it's from C10. It's a locker type rear end, and I believe it's 373 to 1. So this thing moves out smartly. I had to put those big giant, they're 12.5 inches long, side to side, because it would literally fry both tires off the truck, and I had 235/70/15 truck tires. So even with those big monsters on there, it'll do burnouts. Still never let her know. So my tia gave me the money to do everything to get it running good, but the engine and transmission I paid for myself, because that's what I owed her for my student loans. So everything else is her dough, except for the fuel injection system that I bought a few months back. That's what got me to a zero balance with her. So anyway, lots to do, lots of work. Look, that's how wide they are. See how they come off the end of the ramps. So those were 2-inch spring drop, and then 2.5-inch drop spindles. So I don't know if you're supposed to calculate that 2.5 plus 2, giving you 4.5 inches of total drop, but it's low enough, like I said, to break the Zerks. See where it hit. Bam. On the curb stops. I don't know if it was a liquor store or a Walmart parking lot or whatever. That's the heatsink transcooler I put up in here. In 10 years, I've never gotten hit by one rock. So take it for what it's worth. I'd rather have it here in the path of air than stuffed inside the frame rail where no air gets to it, except for hot. Anyway, these are called Jones Max Flow. It's got packing inside of it, so they're just like a MagnaFlow, but super quiet. And with the X pipe, man, it sounds like a tuned, well, it is like a tuned truck. It just doesn't sound loud and obnoxious. It has a nice fine purr to it. So I think I did my act right. Anyway, so that's a 3-inch spring drop in the back. I said 6102-2 CPP classic drop springs in the front, and 2.5-inch drop spindles from McCaughey's with 4-wheel just stock GM disc brakes. And the back are GM, I believe those are off of a Cadillac Catera or something like that, they told me. I can't remember what they said. Or DeVille, you know, the later model ones. And then GM 6 lugs. 373 True Track locker rear end from Eaton. Anyway, I got a lot of work I gotta do, so you can decide if that's low enough for you or not. 215/70/15 in the front and 295/50/15 in the back, 4-inch backspace, and they're 15x10s. The wheel. And I believe the front are the same, but they're 15x7. See how they're narrower. Well, that's it. Thanks a lot.